The name's Cortland, but you can call me Court. You may not can tell, but I'm definitely a nerd. If you missed the first two parts of Growing Up Nerd, be sure to check those out on our channel. This is a chronological storytelling, so for the best experience, I recommend that you watch them in order. But to all the nerds across the world, if this resonates with you, my story that I'm sharing, be sure to like, comment on, and also share this video. I really want to start a conversation with the world about what it's really like to be a nerd, the good, the bad, in the hopes that other nerds will step up and share their story and tell their, use their voice. So be sure to follow this story and other content on our channel. Be sure to subscribe to Horton Big Street. So, picking back up where we left off. I wanted to be popular so bad by the time I reached middle school, as I mentioned in part 2 of Growing Up Nerd. But this want and obsession to be cool was again due to how society viewed nerds during the time. Why do people want to be popular so badly? I'd always think to myself while secretly being an outcast. That need to fit in will drive a kid to do some interesting things just for the chance to be seen, just for a little bit of attention. You know, be the wave, don't ride it. My mother would often say to me as a kid and also to my sisters. And isn't a profound statement, right? That I was able to better understand and internalize and use as I got older. But at this age, like early teens, maybe, 11-ish, 12-ish, being told that went in one ear and right out the other. My mom was talking about being a wave, and it's hard to do that when you ain't even near no water. Shit, I'm doggy paddling in the kids' pool, and you talking about being a wave. I don't think she understood what I was going through this time in my life as a kid, but in hindsight, being honest, I really wasn't talking to her about what I was going through, honestly. Middle school was interesting for me, though. My family and I had to move to a new area after going through some rough patches for about a couple of years, from about third grade through fifth. My mother's career took a turn for the worst, and that was about when I was 10 years old, and so we felt that at home. For the next few years, we lived from place to place, stayed with a couple of different family members, some other places in between that, and after that, after losing our house. And to keep up appearances and not really to uproot us from so much of our lives, our mom, to the best of her ability, she did try to keep us in the same school district. Um, we did spend a year in a different school district, but anyways, middle school again was an interesting time because we had finally found some stability in life. Also, the area we moved to at the start of sixth grade put us around people of a variety of ethnic backgrounds, so I didn't feel odd. Maybe I could fit in here. That was my hope. I was pleasantly surprised to find friends. My social circle was quite diverse too, a mixture of black, white, Asian, Indian, and even Hispanic. I loved it, and I even got along with my teachers. But as I entered sixth grade, my mom put me through two major changes in my life. One, she had me stop wearing whitey tighties, and I graduated to boxer briefs. You laugh at that, it's an adjustment. You won't understand it unless you're a dude, but that was an interesting adjustment in my life. And number two, she told me I had to either join band or the orchestra. And I was like, oh no, this cannot happen. I refused as best as I could, but she ultimately put me in a band, and she made the choice to have me play the saxophone, tenor, of course. And I remember again, I wanted to be popular, and this was me already feeling like a nerd, right? As I've established, that's the common thread here. I'm a nerd, but I didn't want to be a band geek either, But my first band director in middle school, he kind of changed my opinion about the subject rather quickly. His name was Mr. Krosner, and he was this cool, middle-aged white guy. Might have been Jewish. I think he was Jewish. Doesn't matter, but he just gave off groovy vibes. Um, and he kind of favored Keanu Reeves, and totally, totally serious. And again, this is a big thing for me because The Matrix, sidebar, is a crucial movie in my childhood development. I remember seeing that movie in the theater. It came out when I was 9 years old, and it spoke to every nerdy bone in my body. And he was cool, like Keanu Reeves, and he was just knowledgeable about Black people and our culture, and that also kind of allowed me to bond with him. Again, I'm typically at this point one of two or three Black boys in any class I was at this age. So him having what it seems like some more experience being around Black people um, kind of made me happy to be in his class, and um, kind of prompted me to put a little bit more effort in the class, right? You know a little bit about me, I learned a little bit more about this. And I really didn't realize it until later, but I really enjoyed band as a break away from the typical math and history and grammar classes. I was learning a skill that was like riding a bike, right? I knew that once I learn how to do this, I will never forget how to do it. Because just like when you first learn how to ride a bike, when you learn an instrument like this, it's really a form of freedom, and you don't really realize that until later, after the fact, after you appreciate it. You know, Everyone loves music. So being one that can play music and eventually create music, that couldn't be a bad thing. I spent the first half of sixth grade in his class, like introductory to band 101, if you will. And Mr. Krosner taught me the fundamentals of, reading sheet music, playing scales, and even fingering. So after graduating his class, I moved into regular band class the next semester, and this band director was different. He was an older white male. His name was Mr. Bradley, and his personality type was definitely again different than Mr. Krosner's. He reminded me like of a younger version of my granddaddy. He wore similar glasses, so like the big frames, kind of like what I have on now. Um, he had like he was balding up here, kind of like a little droopy pot belly. And when he played and he directed, he'd make a face like a, you know. But again, he just had this feel of my granddaddy, so I always just kind of paid attention to him. And on top of that, to make it even cooler, he played the saxophone as well and tenor as well. Well, he honestly could play more than one saxophone, but his favorite was tenor. So when he pulled out his horn and played it in class, that man sounded like he should be on a stage somewhere. And I always think to myself, while like trying to figure out how to play my horn right, I'm like, bro, why are you teaching middle school band and you can do all this with that horn? You know, he played it like his soul was in that horn. He embraced the music and the instrument, and that was just such a joy to see for myself. Um, but again, being in band is only really cool during band class. So in the hallways, at the bus stop, it's a different story. I had to literally carry my horn to school every day, right? And I got one right here. I'm not gonna pull it up right now, but I'll pull it up later. But at this point, I'm about like, I'm sitting down right now, so I'm about like this tall. The case of the horn is like equal my height, damn near. So I'm this little tiny dude. Remember, like I said, because short, right? That's another one of my things. Nerdy and short. I got both of them. Anyways, but just picture this little tiny kid carrying around this saxophone case 5 days a week because I had band practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You know, and kind of looking back at it now, it probably was something funny to see because I was carrying that thing, and that thing was heavy. You know, scrawny, puberty is fresh on me, so we ain't got the muscle mass yet. It's not. It ain't. We doing the push-ups, but we pushing, but it just ain't come up yet. I don't. Anyways, I have to stop taking. I have to stop and take a break to carry this thing. Like, take this arm, put it on this arm. Anyways, as I progressed through middle school, I also joined jazz band, and this kind of made band interesting. It took it to another level for me, right? Because again, my granddaddy taught me everything I know about music at that time, and he listened to jazz. My mama listened to jazz, so jazz was something I was cool with. We are jazz, right? Um, so again, outside of band class, I'm still a nerd, right? So now having this other area of band to kind of dive into, that just gave me another place to really um, find my identity. When I was in jazz band, I was first chair. Um, and enjoyed the music. And it introduced me to improv, right? And being in first chair, I often had to do the solo, for the jazz song, and some of those songs require a little bit of improvisation. And that's really just playing music on the spot, just thinking of anything, a melody, as long as it's in the right key, with what the band and the other instruments are playing at that time, and that opened music up to me a whole different way. Um, because I always, I'm already kind of quick on my feet. I'm quite witty. You have to be when you're short. You have to be when you're little. You got to be quick with your wits. Um, so that was another area of band that tested me. I dare say it grew me, right? Um, but anyways, outside band class, I'm still a nerd. So in I was treated as such. So I didn't get any attention from the girls, really, at all by that time. The ones that were, they were taller than me, twice as big as me, twice my size in most instances. And at this point, my mom wouldn't let me have no little girlfriend. So, and I still kind of did my best to listen to mom at this point in life. So I'd end up breaking their hearts when I tell them, no, I can't be your boyfriend because my mom won't let me have a girlfriend. And these girls, are dealing with their own insecurities. So me telling them, no, I can't be your girlfriend, and letting the reason be something goofy like, no, because my mom said, and these girls are dealing with their own insecurities and just wanting to be liked by a boy at school, any boy, it doesn't matter what boy, just any boy, but maybe the little short one will do. That's probably what they thought when they looked at me. And me having to tell them no quickly made them to, turn their um, positive feelings for me more negative, and they started to pick on me, right? So at that point, I just started to avoid them and just dive deeper into my identity of a nerd, right? But let me tell y'all something about me, something about good old Cortland Walls. In most scenarios, I find myself, and I tend to approach it with the half glass full kind of mindset. So, to me, um, this wasn't a loss that they didn't like me. Because let me tell you why. If you've made it this far in the story, you want to see how this ends for little Cortland. So let me tell you why it wasn't that big of a deal to me that they didn't like me. And it was because there are some cuties in the band. and all colors of the rainbow. So, this little piece of caramel sitting in the middle of band class, because my chair was pretty much directly in the middle of the band class, and I'm one of two tenor saxophone players, and the other was, a good friend of mine of the same age. Um, I was a little commodity. So, what also appealed to me about engaging with girls in band is they're all band geeks. I'm a band geek. So those things cancel out, right? And they also had some nerd qualities of themselves, of their own, right? So that means they appreciated mine. And so, I whittled it down to 3 reasons, right? Again, like I said, they're band geeks like me. And so they're also nerd like me. That's kind of like reason number one. Number two, they actually were nice. They were a lot nicer than the other girls in the school. And then number three, this is the kicker right here. Yes, we're in band together, but we're still in gym class together too. And so we also had recess, right? Because that was still a thing then. I don't even know if they have. I guess they have recess now. I don't know. Anyways, I've been out of school for so long, but so they got to see me in band class, and they got to see, me play that horn, and they got to see, my fingers. They got to hear me, play a melody. But then we get to gym class and we get to the playground, and they can see that he can contend with the boys too, with the athletes, right? With the jocks. Oh yeah. So, they knew I might be smaller than the rest, but I could keep up with the best. So again, I didn't feel bad that, the boys that were taller, bigger, got more attention because I was still eating too. I just was fishing in a different pond. So it was around this time that I realized something. I had an epiphany when it came to dealing with girls at school. I realized that I shared classes with the band girls, right? And as I mentioned earlier, the band has some cuters, right? And when they talk to you in class, in the hallways, in the lunchroom, like they actually know you, like there's actual back and forth dialogue, and then you make them laugh, and not just like any like a type laugh, and then the other girls are seeing all this happen. You know, it starts to make those girls that don't pay attention to you, who wasn't paying attention to you, they start. And I'm realizing it now more as an adult, but my mother's choice to put me in band really taught me some crucial lessons about life and how to deal with people, even what kind of people I want to associate and surround myself with, and also the opposite sex. But the biggest thing was like that discipline of band. It cultivated, um, just a work ethic, a drive, a determination in me. Every day I picked up that horn and practiced, fighting the thought of this horn isn't cool, this being in band isn't cool, and wanting to be cool, but then embracing who I was, embracing this musical part of me, because I came from a family that sings and plays other instruments, and music just is a fundamental part of my life. So finally embracing that, it shows up in different areas of my life now as a man. Um, and then again, like I said, the added bonus of practicing engaging with the opposite sex, and not just other, black girls, but I'm getting to talk to, all ethnic backgrounds. So I hope you like this portion of Growing Up Nerd, where I'm using my experiences as a true nerd growing up in the 90s, and even as an adult now, to empower others who resonate with this story, to embrace the most nerdy things about themselves. about yourself. I want embrace what it is that is nerdy about you. Um, so come back for the next episode of Growing Up Nerd, where you can hear about how being in band helped this nerd with the ladies. So we're out of here.